Hey, what's up? This is Alex Gonzalez. Thanks for downloading this week's episode of West Box Score. I appreciate it. Going solo today on these reads because my man D-Bot is enjoying a vacation. D-Bot, love you, bro. Hope you're living it up down there. So before we get this week started, I got to ask you to follow us, D-Bot and myself, on Twitter and Instagram at West Box Score. Follow our compadre, Sonny Hermano. He's got a podcast called The Fox Crate. He's on the IG. It's at The Fox Crate if you're looking for it on there. Also, be sure to hit up our Discord. It's on the show notes there. Shout out to Big Money Matt, Naham, Billy Delgado, Brianna Flores, Parker McDaniels, the whole crew, keeping it busy right there on the Discord. And of course, I got to ask you, do you like coffee? Coffee's good, right? Gives you the caffeine boost you need. It gets you through your day. So then maybe you should try Sailor Brew's coffee. We got a link in our show notes there. That's a affiliate link that'll help us out. Help out the podcast, get you some nice good coffee. Also, don't forget to put promo code WBS10 when you're checking out. I mean, I prefer, I believe it's Marine's Compass brand of coffee. That's the brew, Sailor's Brew coffee. That's what they put together. It's a light roast coffee because, if you really want that caffeine boost, you got to go light roast. That's the way to go. Don't get dark roast. Dark roast is a strong flavor, but doesn't give you that caffeine boost the way a light roast would. So be sure to hit up Sailor Brew's coffee. Enough caffeine to get you through the day's storm. Sailor Brew, check them out. And without further ado, it's time to start this week's show. Yo, Sonny Hermano, the Fox Crate podcast host in the building. What's up, dude?
Am I in the building though, man?
You're in a building.
I think when's the last time you and I were on the same pod? Was it the infamous?
Yes,
the infamous
it was.
Tráfico?
It was. The last time you and I were in the building for a podcast taping was my home here in the beautiful city of Southgate. And we were recapping the Tráfico that was, where the Galaxy, of course, took 3 points from y'all. And I was very inebriated. I was slurring and blurring just all through that podcast.
Did you listen back to that episode out of curiosity?
Some of it, not all of it. I can't. I don't know how our poor listeners can get through that podcast, man. It is a tough listen. God bless you for getting through it, and thank you for downloading and listening to it. I appreciate so much feedback on that episode. It's been incredible. It's been a lot of mixed reviews. Actually, a lot of people saying that I did not push back on you enough.
Oh,
and I'm like, I thought I pushed back on you too much at one point because it made no sense. A lot of my pushback, it was a pushback to a roundabout. So it was like a 360 pushback, I guess you would say, because it landed nowhere. But yeah, it was a fun podcast. That, regardless, that I remember from what I remember about it. How about you, man?
It was fun. It was fun. It was fun to be in the flesh with all of you. Then, never did I suspect that I wouldn't hop on a pod with you again until it's been over a month now. I think.
Oh yeah, dude, it was May. It was 2 months. It's almost 2 months now. Jeez, May 13th. Yeah.
Well,
man,
here we are, man. I'm happy to be back. Happy to see the familia and talk hoops.
Oh yes, because at that point the NBA playoffs hadn't started. We were expecting the Lakers to go back to back. Did not happen. We were expecting the Clippers to be out in maybe the first round. Didn't happen. Lo and behold, here we are in late June now, and the Clippers are in the Western Conference Finals for the first time ever. The Phoenix Suns.
Did you go? Did you go though?
Did I go to any of those games?
No, to the parade that they had when they clinched and they made it to the Western Conference Finals.
Though they put up a banner after that first round for getting further than the Lakers.
I heard it was a huge turnout. I think Clipper Pablo was there.
Darrow.
I'm curious to ask how that went.
Clipper Darrow was there. Billy Crystal, Frankie Muniz, all the legendary Clipper fans, man, all the day ones. Even,
I thought that's how Kawhi got injured, isn't it? Wasn't he was celebrating or jumping on the float or something like that? Or
first off, Kawhi Leonard would not jump and celebrate, so that's not how he got hurt. Oh man, I love the way we could not get Clipper Pablo on today to give some more. So now, if the Clippers lose, Pablo, and you're hearing this, if they lose now, which they might, if they lose now, it's your fault. It's your fault. You've been coming on every week to chop up Clippers with us, And that's why they've been winning. It's this West box score, positivity that's been going.
That's right. That's right.
But now, if they do lose, it's all on Clipper Pablo, right?
I agree, man. I mean, I maintain that when the Clippers went down 0-2 in this series, in dramatic fashion, as they did after that DeAndre Ayton alley-oop dunk at the buzzer, which I don't know if you guys covered last week. It might have happened after you. It
might have happened after, yes.
Yeah, which was wild, that whole game and in the whole 1 hour that it took to finish the last 3 minutes.
The longest game in NBA history, I'm sure.
But man, when they went, but even then, when the Clippers went down 0-2 in dramatic fashion, I thought Clippers have them exactly where they want them.
Yes, exactly. All part of their plan.
Exactly.
But yeah, and that game one, I'm trying to remember game one now because game two was such a dramatic ending, right?
Mm-hmm.
Game one was also without Chris Paul, right? And without Chris Paul,
without Kawhi, it was the Devin Booker show. Really, I think he put up 40 points or something close to that. It was a close game. It was the Clippers on the heels of just having that parade that we just talked about. I think on Saturday,
the Western Conference.
They won on Friday night. They had the parade on Saturday, and then Sunday, poor team had to turn around and Sunday afternoon, not even Sunday evening.
Right.
Sunday afternoon, they had to turn around and play the Suns, a rested Phoenix Suns team, mind you, that for game one. And the Clippers put up
rusted though.
Yeah.
A bit rusted, man, because they got off to a bit of a slow start in that game, right?
Right.
If I recall. But the Clippers obviously having a 48-hour break, having to get right back out there. It played to benefit Phoenix on that game. But in those first two games, even though the Clippers went down 0-2 right away, close games. Like maybe this Clipper team without Kawhi, they can't possibly be better without Kawhi, right? There's no way.
No.
But how are they still winning without him?
Well,
how?
Well, it's players like Terrence Mann and Reggie Jackson, picking up the slack. And
Mr. June.
Yeah, Mr. June, exactly. Just kind of playing out of their mind, man, and having their own coming out parties. I mean, Mann obviously in that series clincher in the previous series, but even in this series, now he's become somewhat of a reliable scorer. And, I think it'd be interesting. Unfortunately, that's not how this game works, but it'd be interesting to know if Kawhi had been on the court, how this series would have played out otherwise, and I'm curious.
Well, I'm curious to know how far the Suns would have gotten with a healthy, Anthony Davis.
Well, that's
the
discussion
Suns team
we had with Donald when we did the post Lakers breakdown of what went wrong. I still maintain to this day that a healthy Lakers squad is still playing right now. Mm-hmm. But as evidenced by all of these playoffs and these games, it's not always who's the best team, it's who's the healthiest team.
Now, I know right away everybody wanted to put an asterisk over the Lakers championship last year.
Who wanted to put an asterisk on it?
Assholes do. Only assholes do.
Okay.
Not real basketball fans.
I always maintain, let me correct it. It did deserve an asterisk. And the footnote should read, hardest championship ever won by a team. So yes, I agree actually.
Yeah, there's your asterisk. Yeah, for sure. And you can't put an asterisk on this season because it's been a full 82 game season, right?
72, I guess.
72. But also there's been travel, there hasn't been a bubble, there's been home court advantage now in the playoffs here with almost full capacity at every arena, except for Portland. But they didn't make it this far.
Right.
And also so you can't put an asterisk here, but I would almost put the asterisk for the Phoenix Suns' potential route to the championship. All these injuries to the star players.
I'll make this case for the asterisk on this season.
Okay.
And why maybe you could consider it. I don't know if you ultimately would, but it's a ripple effect from what happened last season. Mm-hmm. And that's everything got pushed back. It was a start, then obviously stop season last year. It got pushed back. It was condensed. They were in a bubble. They were trying to just finish the season, quote unquote. It went all the way until what was it, November? Late October, November?
Yeah.
Late October.
Late October.
And when the season normally ends in June. And yet they push back the start because obviously the season starts usually in late October. But instead of, so think about it. The NBA season normally ends in June. So they didn't finish in October, late October, 4 months after what it normally ends, right? Instead of pushing back the start of the next season an equal of 4 months, they only pushed it back 2 months. And that's where I feel like the ripple effect happened.
Not enough. That's not enough of a
Not enough time, man. Not enough time, especially for those teams that made a deep run, like the Lakers, like the Clippers, like the Mavericks, all these teams that we've seen, and then some players that came back from injury and the condensed schedule that was this season because they were still fitting 72 games into the season and they kind of played them in a condensed way that I think you get what you've seen play out, and that's injuries to some key players or just to players, period, that have altered the outcome of these playoffs.
Right. Yeah, you're absolutely right. And look at the teams that are doing the best right now in the playoffs at this point. A team that didn't play in the playoffs in the bubble, the Phoenix Suns, who are just all healthy, playing well, all important at this point in the season. The playoffs, the Milwaukee Bucks, the Atlanta Hawks over in the East, all teams that did not go far in the playoffs in the bubble,
Correct.
right?
Yes.
Clippers as well did not go far in the playoff bubble, so they've had time to recoup and recover, nurse those injuries, and get back out there. So I think we got to put the asterisk on this season. I think we got to.
I think it's worthy of a conversation. I think, and that's not to take away anything from any of these teams that end up winning the title, because let me tell you, it's been mad entertaining watching some of these games. A lot of these games, really. I mean, that Game 7 between Brooklyn and the Bucks was something special, man. It went to overtime. Fantastic. Selfishly, I was rooting for the Bucks the whole time, and that's because on the podcast where I came on, and we had D-Bot and Clipper Pablo, and we were making our predictions. I had initially predicted it would be Lakers-Bucks in the finals. I obliged Clipper Pablo and said, fine, I'll give you the Clippers as the alternative, and I predicted Clippers-Bucks as an option. So to still see the Bucks in there, I was just like, I'm rooting for them because, like, you know how I do. I predicted the Heat last season. I want to be right again this season, So, anyways, but it's been entertaining nonetheless. And so I'm going to see it all the way through, no matter who the last two teams are that are standing. It could be Phoenix and Milwaukee, Phoenix and Atlanta. The Clippers can do the damn thing and win 3 in a row here. But we'll see. It's been fun to watch. But yeah, it sucks when you don't get to see like Kawhi out there. When you don't.
It does. Yeah. But and that's why I wonder if because Kawhi's not out there, these other guys like Jackson and Man are just digging deeper to they have to step up because Kawhi is not on the court, and even PG he's doing better too. But is it because they have to? It's only is that the mentality now? Is Ty Lue telling them or coaching them up to pull together, play together, and because you don't have that star player out there to back you up to carry you through?
It's got to be a little bit of that. Paul George, I got to give him credit because I know he's taken the fair share of criticism and blame. Yeah, pandemic P. Even Clipper Pablo has been harsh on, Paul George.
Yes, he has.
But one stat that did stand out to me, and we'll break it down maybe here, is that he just broke the record for scoring 25-plus points in 9 straight consecutive playoff games.
Oh, wow.
9 consecutive playoff games. He broke the record, right? And I guess he did it in as much of a quiet way as possibly can be done because it didn't occur to me that he's done this. But to his credit, even if he did it on, let's say, if he scored 25 points on 50 shots, right? A la sometimes Kobe's games.
Kobe, yeah.
It's still hard to do, man. It's still hard in playoff atmosphere to carry your team and keep them in the game, right? And the Clippers have gotten, we're talking about 9 games. This Sun series has only lasted 4 games so far. That means he's done it for 2 straight series.
Right.
And 4 of those games now have been without the lead guy. So I don't know what you make of that, what you take of those statistics, but I just think it's partially, one, a bad matchup for the Clippers. Two, it's hard to grade completely without Kawhi on the court.
Well, it makes me think why of course he's going to score so many points because now he's their number one scoring option, right? So that was the Kobe effect. He's their number one scoring option. That's why he scores so many points.
Right.
So now but for 9 straight, how long has Kawhi been out?
Only for these 4 games. So I guess.
So yeah, that's consistency. You have to give him credit for that. That's consistently showing up in the playoffs when it matters, and that's why I know Kawhi was the first chip to fall for the Clippers here, but they went out still and acquired Paul George, that other piece to accompany him. So that's what you want from that second big star, and he's coming through. So you got to give credit to Paul George.
Actually,
for that.
correction. So Kawhi actually, I'm forgetting already, but this is how drawn out the playoffs have become.
Yeah, for sure.
Kawhi missed after Game 4 of that series.
That's right, the Jazz.
Against the Jazz. So so he never returned for Game 5, 6, or 7. So that's 3. So that's 7 games that Paul George has done this. But to the point you were making, he did it the 2 games before that when Kawhi was on the court. So I don't know what you make of it. Yes, the burden fell on his shoulders, and at least he's getting the points, right? Like he may miss the free throws that matter down the stretch.
Oh no, poor guy. Poor guy. That was brutal.
But
that was brutal.
At least he was on the court to be in the position to miss free throws, where at least you can kind of count on him, unlike somebody like a Ben Simmons in Philadelphia and that whole experience. So to me, it's always like glass half full, right? So Clipper fans, if you're out there and you're like, F this guy, he misses free throws, but like, yo, it could be a lot worse. You could have Ben Simmons on your team.
What's going on over there, and the Philadelphia fan base is calling for his head right now.
Exactly.
That's nuts.
And that's the beauty of sports, right? It's that like we're always consumed about, no, but our team could be better. It's like you never think about how it is relative to the other teams that are struggling.
Exactly. But so game 4 goes to the Suns in a. So now they have a stranglehold on the series. 3-1. Chris Paul says, "Don't bring up 3-1 to him. Don't bring up 3-1 to him in the post-game show." So is it over for these Clippers? Do the Suns wrap it up in Game 5 at home? You would think so, right?
Yeah, man. I don't see. I just can't see it. I for Clipper Pablo's sake, I hope that the Clippers make it a series again, and take it to at least 6. Because then the pressure just kind of shifts back to the Suns, where it's like now if you lose Game 6 and you let it get to 7, anything can happen in a Game 7. But I don't see it happening. Without Kawhi, I just can't. I can't. And the way DeAndre Ayton's playing, like, man, like this is a tough hill to overcome, I think, for the Clippers at this point. Especially because, again, I know we were joking, half joking when we said, hey, they got them right where they want them, right?
Right.
You can't it's not sustainable. You can't keep falling 0-2 down to a team and then expect your team to come all the way back and then carry that forward again into the next series and the series after that. It just never happened,
So the closeout game is always the toughest one to win. The pressure is all on the Suns, but can this Clipper team that's gritty, man? That's one thing I have fallen in love with this team. I'm not at all rooting for them.
Why not? Can I ask why not? Can I ask why there's this sentiment out there with Laker fans that I'm taking offense to myself personally?
Okay, but this is what I'm saying. Let me finish my point.
Yeah. Sorry.
Okay, no, please. What it is yes, as a Laker fan, I don't feel like I can root for the Clippers, but I can appreciate what they're doing. As a basketball fan, I will appreciate how gritty this team is, how hard they play, how they're down in the closeout Game 7 and down 25 and come back to win it. Like, that's admirable. That's impressive. I can respect that. Get you some. I can appreciate that. When you play against this Phoenix Suns team that is healthy and is clicking on all cylinders, and you are still making them fight for those wins, I can appreciate that. You are repping LA right now. I can respect that, but I won't go to your parade. I won't cheer for you. I won't say like, oh yeah, jump when you hit a three. I won't do that.
That's okay. That's not necessarily
that.
what I'm asking, I guess, because there's a larger contingent out there of Laker fans that I'm hearing vitriol though. Like I'm legit hearing hate. You know, and in the similar way that like we give hate to the Celtics, but that's warranted, right? Like fuck the Celtics. You know? That I understand, but I'm like with the Clippers, I'm like, what? Like what is it about? And we've spoken to the psyche of like maybe it's the LA fan that just this complex, you know, this Dignity Health Sports complex that these fans have. That's just like, there can't be somebody that coexists next to me that also gets love. No, all the love has to be me. You know what I mean? Where it's like, I get it when they're facing off against one another or when there's a real rivalry established, right? Correct me if I'm wrong, Alex, but the Clippers and Lakers have not met in the playoffs ever.
They have not.
Okay?
They have not.
So where is the fucking rivalry?
The rivalry is inside Staples Center. It's their roommates essentially inside Staples Center. They battle over prime time timing of use of the stadium, right? I guess if you had a roommate, it's like, I want to watch the big TV right now, like I want to watch my show, you go watch the living room, the bedroom TV or something like that.
They're
right?
Siblings, though. What you're describing are siblings,
right?
Sibling
exactly
rivalry, right? And sibling rivalry is real, right? But at the end of the day, at least for some of us, and maybe this is a Latino thing where I'm speaking from, is I may see you as a rival and you may be in my way in those examples, like as my sibling. But at the end of the day, it's all love. You know what I mean? Like I still love you as my little brother or as my little sister or big sister, whatever. But I don't get that with Lakers.
Or as my little franchise, or as my little club.
Right? And better yet, because in this relationship, right, I see the Lakers, if we're going to go full analogy with family and sibling rivalry, the Lakers are very much the big brother to the Clippers' little brother, right? So the Lakers are the big brother, the do good, you know, the do well, kiss ass, if you will, the overachiever, the one that always mom and dad are always showing off, and they got all his or her trophies up in the house, and I have to fight for my little corner all the time, and I'm so much better than them. They just, if they only knew, right? Like, and
this is all this therapy coming out. I love it. Go ahead.
So this is exactly what I'm saying, because this is the complex I get from folks where I'm like, how are y'all threatened to the point where you reciprocate the hate? Because it's one thing for Clipper fans to hate the Lakers out of jealousy, right? To be like, we want to be everything you guys are and so much more. But it's like, why do you reciprocate that hate? Because you should be the better person to know, hey, little one, you'll have your time in the sun. Matter of fact, this is your opportunity right here, man. Go and get yours.
I only imagine because how we started this podcast. What did we do? We started talking smack about their banners.
We don't talk smack.
And all that.
We chuckle at it.
So we would lose it. We would lose that, right? Do we really want to lose that ability to goof on the little brother? Do we like that, right? That makes us feel better to a point, to just goof on them and like, oh, y'all, you're never gonna get no trophies. See, look at these ones over here.
We're never gonna lose that, because taking it back to the sibling rivalry, like to this day, I still clown my sisters, you know, every chance I get, right, over something like that. It's nothing but love. I still root for them to succeed, but it's like, if that's what I mean by this complex, this insecurity, that there's this thought that that's going to get lost somehow and it's no longer going to be fun. Like, well, it's not fun to love them. I'm not saying go to the parade. I'm not saying root for them. I'm saying don't hate on them. Does that make sense?
Yeah. No, I agree. No, totally agree with you, and I'm right there with you. I'm just enjoying seeing this run that they're on.
Now, if they beat us, if they had knocked us out in devastating fashion in the playoffs,
speak on it.
Where they were like, and then on top of that, they were rubbing it in our faces, right? Like, just the fans were coming out. Oh, Lakers, who? Let's just this scenario, right? That exists in our mind.
Right. I'm with you.
Now,
I'm with you.
I'm totally on your side of like, nah, fuck that shit. We're gonna come after them and some, because we have some shit to flex on, right?
And it's the inferiority thing too, because we should be feeling that way about the Phoenix Suns knocking the Lakers out, right? But I don't feel that way because the Lakers have so many more titles than the Phoenix Suns have had in their franchise history, and I can appreciate how well the Suns are playing at the moment. running this playoffs all the way through, taking advantage of teams who are hurt. So so that's me, my inferiority, just saying like, oh, discrediting how they're doing, because you guys are only doing well because you're playing teams that all got all star players hurt.
You think you're bad? You ain't shit.
Wait till we see you next year with everybody healthy. So it's odd, man. Sports are great for that reason. Just nonsense, straight nonsense. So real quick before we wrap up, what do you think about the Eastern Conference?
Ooh,
the Bucks
man,
and the Hawks?
way the Bucks put the smackdown on the Hawks in that second game. I mean, we're recording this now right before tip off of Game 3.
Game 3,
which will be interesting to see how the Hawks respond, especially on their home court.
Run it back in the
exactly. It's exciting, man. I do like what I see out of Trae Young. The kid's a baller. The whole team is kind of deep, man. Bogdanovich, Gallinari, like they got all these dudes that can wet it. And on the flip side, though, again, the Bucks, I maintain Drew Holiday was that missing link, and he's proved thus far to be that. That steady hand that Giannis needed, that Chris Middleton needed, so that not all that pressure was on Chris Middleton to be the sidekick all the time, right?
Okay.
They have a good thing going. I do have concerns about their coach sometimes and the playmaking decisions, but we'll see, man. I hope it goes 7 just from a fan standpoint, because these game 7s have been amazing. Yeah. Especially, I'll wrap up with this last comment. I made this comment because my wife and I were watching that Bucks Nets game 7, right? And she got all into it, and she could care less about hoops, right? Even Lakers, no Lakers, like she doesn't care. But this game, she kind of got involved, I think, through proxy, because she saw how into it I started getting.
Yeah.
And I stopped and I was like, wow, like I'm not saying I would ever trade this, but in that moment, it felt so nice to not be in it, like to feel all the feels of a game 7 as a fan. The highs and the lows and what those mean. Like normally, if that was the Lakers playing, I would have needed a shower after that.
Yeah.
But as a fan, neutral fan, just watching hoops and watching these two great teams battle it out, I was literally just eating my popcorn, just like, go another overtime. Let's go another one, and another one, and another one. As Khaled.
You're right. As Khaled would say. Yeah, man, it's so great how sports can do that. As a family, just bring you together, enjoy that moment together, that's the whole thing, right? When we talk about cutting the cord, right? I always want to cut my cable and always the internet and just only stream Netflix, but I can't because I'm so invested in live sports. So that's why I'm always going to have like a Spectrum, AT&T type of cable watching package. But because of that, it's like the original reality show, man. It's the original, like, you don't know what's going to happen next, but you got to stay tuned to it, and you get invested emotionally to it. And it's just like when you're a neutral, to your point, you're just watching to see like, oh, this guy's wide open. No, don't pass it to that guy. Oh, damn, he left him open. Yeah. He hit it. Of course he did. It's like, of course. And that's when you enjoy it the most. That's when it's the most pure.
Yeah, because it was so much fun to not be cussing anybody out on the TV. Like to be like, fuck you,
exactly.
KCP, or some shit like,
the fuck,
you're killing me, Kuzma. You're killing me, Kuzma. It was fun to not have that energy and still enjoy the game and ride the highs and the lows of like, oh, wide open shot. Oh, he made it.
Playoff basketball is a beautiful thing. This is the only thing we can take solace in the conference finals here, that our Lakers are not in it. Then we can take solace in like, we're just enjoying it for the love of the game here. Man, that's so cool. Sonny Hermano, Fox Great Podcast. Thank you so much for hopping back on with me again. We got to do this again real soon, dude.
Happy to be back. Peace.
See ya.